Namaste everyone, I'm Dr. Ankita Sawant. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with the topic of tibiofibular joint. So it has three parts: superior, middle, and the inferior tibiofibular joint. So first we'll see the tibia and fibula articulate at three joints: the superior, middle, and the inferior tibiofibular joint. So first we'll see the superior part. So superior tibiofibular joint, this is a small synovial joint of a plane variety. So it's a small synovial joint of plane variety. It is formed by articulation of small rounded flat facets present on the head of the fibula. Small rounded flat facets which are present on the head of the fibula, and on the lateral condyles of the tibia. Okay, so fibula and lateral condyles of the tibia, that articulation is the superior tibiofibular joint. Okay, so the joint permits slight gliding or rotatory movements that help in adjustment of the lateral malleolus during movements of the ankle joint. So see how important this small articulation is. The bones are united by a fibrous capsule. There has to be a fibrous capsule around the joint, which is strengthened by anterior and posterior ligaments. Okay, so it is that particular superior tibiofibular joint is united by the fibrous capsule, and then further it is strengthened by the anterior and posterior ligaments. Okay, so these ligaments are directed forward and laterally. The cavity of the joint may communicate with the knee joint through the popliteal bursa. The joint is supplied by the nerve of popliteus and the recurrent genicular nerve. Okay, so this was all about the superior tibiofibular joint. Moving further to the inferior tibiofibular joint, this is a fibrous joint formed by the interosseous membrane. Okay, so between the two joints there is a membrane which is called interosseous membrane, which connects the shaft of the tibia and the fibula. Okay, the interosseous membrane is attached to the interosseous borders of the two bones. Both the bones have the interosseous borders. Okay, so there this interosseous membrane is connects. Okay, so its fibers are directed downwards and laterally. It is wide above and narrow below, where it is continuous with the interosseous ligament of the inferior tibiofibular joint. Okay, so it merges further inferiorly with the inferior tibiofibular joint, interosseous ligament. Okay, so it presents a large opening at the upper end of the passage of the anterior tibial vessel and a much smaller opening near its lower end for the passage of the perforating branch of peroneal artery. So we'll see the relations now, very much important. So anteriorly, this middle tibiofibular joints relation anteriorly, tibialis anterior we have extensor digitorum longus, extensor hallucis longus, peroneus tertius, anterior tibial vessel, deep peroneal nerve. Likewise, posteriorly we have tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus. Nerve supply we have here is popliteus nerve. Then its function now is the membrane provides additional surface for attachment of the muscles. Okay, just imagine if there is no interosseous membrane between the tibia and fibula, there will be just the gap, no, between. So something has to be there to create the fullness. Hence that membrane is present. So the function is it provides an additional surface for the attachment of the muscle. Then it binds tibia and fibula. Okay, so there is no there has to be that connection of the membrane, otherwise tibia and fibula will easily dislocate. Hence it binds the tibia and fibula, then resists the downward pull exerted on the fibula by the powerful muscle attached to the bone. Okay, so resist the downward pull जो exert होता है on the fibula by the powerful muscles attached to the bone. This was all about the middle tibiofibular joint. Moving further now to the inferior. So inferior tibiofibular joint is a syndesmosis uniting the lower end of the tibia and fibula. The bony surfaces are connected by a very strong interosseous ligament, which forms a chief bond of union between the lower ends of these bones. The interosseous ligament is concealed both in front and behind by the anterior and posterior tibiofibular ligament, whose fibers are directed downwards and laterally. The posterior tibiofibular ligament is stronger than the anterior. Its lower and deep portion forms the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, which we had already seen in the ankle joint, okay, which is a strong and thick band of yellowish fibers passing transversely from the upper part of the malleolar fossa of the fibula to the posterior border of the articular surface of the tibia, reaching up the medial malleolus. So while I'm explaining you, you have to imagine that particular anatomical positions, then only you will be able to relate. So its blood supply, perforating branch of peroneal artery and the malleolar branches of the anterior and posterior tibial arteries. Nerve supply, we have deep peroneal nerve, tibial and saphenous nerves. The joint permits slight movement so that the lateral malleolus can rotate laterally during dorsiflexion of the ankle. So this was all about the inferior tibiofibular joint. So this was all about the topic which we had discussed today, the tibiofibular joint. I hope you liked the video and the information which I tried to provide was useful. So if you like it, so please like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll also provide a link of Instagram. So there also I share the content, physiotherapy related content and in general medical related topics and content. If you like that, to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, and stay tuned for such knowledgeable videos. At the end, I will only say keep learning. Knowledge is power. Thank you so much. God bless you all.